Any headphones? Okay.
Madam Clerk, we're ready to start.
I'd like to call the Sugarland 4B meeting to order on this day, Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. Citizens who desire to address the city council and our commission in person with regard to matters on the agenda must complete a form. Is there anyone here from the city?
No.
Okay. So we can move forward there. For the next item. Okay, review and discussion, consideration of an action on authorization of a performance agreement between Sugarland 4B Corporation and LCFRE Sugarland Town Square LLC. Jessica presenting.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. So before we get into the agreement, I want to go back a little bit to talk about some background of how we got here. So as you guys know, Planned Community Developers, or what we call PCD, was the original developer and longtime property manager of Town Square. Lionstone acquired Town Square in 2013 and then brought on Reeby's in 2019, right before COVID, and they were tasked with repositioning Town Square. So in the past 10 years, Lionstone has invested approximately $46.9 million to maintain, evolve, and improve the physical assets. And just from 2019 to 2022 alone through that COVID area, they invested 27.3 million. A lot of it is in the landscaping, the storefronts, the string lighting, all the stuff that you see outside today that's really changed Town Square to that next level. So the project vision is to evolve Town Square into one of the most vibrant, innovative, culturally rich, and commercially successful lifestyle centers in the United States. So post-COVID, Rhinestone and Reeves were hard at work at repositioning Town Square, and they started with the retail. So in doing that, they elevated their events and their marketing strategy. A key role in that was bringing the events outside of the plaza. You see a lot more site-wide events, trying to pull the people to the stores, actually get them to spend money. And so that really helped drive sales and traffic to our stores. You know, during COVID, the occupancy dropped to 58%. And through those efforts, we saw it go all the way back up to 90, where it's been hovering pretty steadily. And then during COVID and in those retail efforts, they were able to then land some really national and regional businesses like BB Italia that we see, Williams Smokehouse, which is coming soon, the Hess's Kitchen, and more. And so while landscaping seems like a very small thing, when we've got mixed use centers and we want to promote walkability, there has to be trees and needs to be comfortable. People need to feel safe. And so they did a lot of work with ripping out the old landscaping, putting lush bushes and trees, creating parklets, and even going as far as the wayfinding and signage. We had a lot of feedback that people couldn't find their way to parking garages. So little small things like that can create a lot of frustration when people come to shopping centers. And so they really looked into making the customer experience as friendly as it could be. And they're still doing that today. So we'll see that more and more. And then looking into the office side, through their efforts, they were able to renew some of their longstanding tenants, and then also get some 7-year extensions with some notable groups like the Noble Group, Industrial Info, CVR. And then we worked with them, the city worked with them on doing some murals and some other really fun projects along the way. And so for the future, there's still a lot of work ahead. You'll see the robust marketing plan still playing out, more site-wide events to draw people to the streets, draw people to the restaurants and the retail. Oktoberfest is coming up at the end of October. Please check it out if you didn't last year. It was a great event. All of our tenants get involved in our restaurants, and it's a really good way to get that visibility to who's here. And then you'll also see more storefront renovations. So Fish City Grill is working on a patio expansion. BB Italia just finished their patio. If you haven't seen, Williams Smokehouse is working its way to almost completion. This is inside the parking garage, which I really love. Again, it's nice when you drive into a parking garage and actually get to see something pretty. And there's a really easy access entrance, which is great. And so just, making it visually appealing, and those little things go a long way. So we're really excited about all that stuff. And so as staff, we meet with Reeves and Limestone regularly. They're our longest standing P3 partnership. We're going on about 20 years now, Town Square being here. And so the work and the reinvestment needs never stop. And so that's what we always talk about, is how can we help you make sure that Town Square stays the thriving mixed use development that it is, and what's the future of Town Square look like? Because as many people say, this is the beating heart of our city. And so we have to make sure that we're always paying attention to it, taking care of it, and figuring out what that next step is. And so with that, they approached us about a tenant that they had been pursuing, and it'd be a huge asset for this development in the sense that it's unique, it's experiential, it's something that is not in any of the suburbs around Houston, which is something we really like to hear. And it would be a great asset in driving traffic. It would help our hotels and also be an office amenity, which is great because our office has obviously been quite struggling since COVID. So with that, I'd like to introduce to you the agreement we're here to talk about today. Is with PUTTSHACK. So if you're not familiar, PUTTSHACK is an upscale tech-infused mini golf experience that offers unique event spaces, various mini golf courses, then of course food and beverage. It was co-founded in 2018 by the brothers of Top Golf. So really great company there. And then the current Texas location is in downtown Houston on McKinney Street. So it's in a mixed use area near House of Blues. This is currently the only Texas location. They are looking to open in Dallas next year. As I said, we would be the only other PUTTSHACK in the Houston region, which is really exciting. And then I think it's notable to say that the other current locations are in major cities like Denver, Phoenix. They're looking at Nashville. So it's exciting to think that we could be considered for one of those locations. So the estimated annual attendance is 350,000. They said it's conservatively. To put that into perspective, Constellation Field saw 400,000 people in 2022. So it's like you're putting a stadium right here in town square. So that foot traffic and potentially the new audience that this development could see, that's really hard to get from any old business. So that's great for us. And then expected revenue is 15 million in the first year. The demographics, so 65% range from 22 to 35, 22% range from 36 to 45, and then a 50-50 split of men and women. If you've heard the redevelopment spiel, we're an aging community, right? We're really looking at how we can bring in the younger families, the younger audience, or at least bring them down here so they can see how we've changed and what we have to offer. And this establishment would be something that could potentially get new people here to get their eyes on our city and see what we have to offer them. So I think that's really exciting for us. And then as an office amenity, 25% of revenue comes from event sales, and then 75% of the event sales are corporate events. So again, what drew them to Sugar Land is that this is a mixed use development, that there are office tenants on site, same as where they are in Houston. They want that everyday foot traffic, the visitors, people walking by. That's what they really look for. This would not be coming to us as a standalone venue. It's solely because it's here in town square and by the hard work of Ruby's. So the location we're here to talk about is on the west entrance of town square. So Highway 6 is on your top, and then off City Walk. So it's right across from Flying Saucer and Sweet Paris. It's where Madison Avenue and AT&T is. They'd be taking over the entire venue, first and second floor, and then expanding out onto the side as well. So here's some renderings of what it would potentially look like. The top image is what you would potentially see on Highway 6. And then the bottom image is what you would see on Texas Drive facing State Fair. It's a really beautiful design. This is if you were standing on City Walk, kind of looking towards Highway 59. So you'll see the patio extension that would go into what is now parking. So just creating more usable space. Here's some more renderings. I think pictures go a long way. So the total build out or investment is 13.5 million. This is being paid for by PUTTSHACK and Reeves, so Lionstone. And so the funding gap was around 1.03 million. SL4B funds are eligible to spend on recreational or community facilities, including equipment, facilities, and improvements for entertainment purposes and events. And as a reminder, we have used 4B for some tourism and recreation projects like the pump track, Constellation Field. So it is eligible. And our portion is a very reasonable portion for what they're putting in overall. So the performance agreement, the term would be 5 years. The direct incentive would be a one-time payment. What they would have to complete is they'd have to spend 12 million of the estimated 13.5 in the infrastructure and tenant improvements for the build out of the 19,277 square foot space. They have to have a minimum of 75 employees, receive a certificate of occupancy. There are clawbacks for default and reductions if the lack of employee retention if it's not kept. And then the payment is again paid in full after we receive the items that we need within 60 days. And we would budget this in to hit in FY25, in case you're curious. And so just also to note, this has been vetted through the Economic Development Committee. And then we also shared it with the Development Review Committee, which is internal staff consisting of planning, engineering, permits, to see if what they were proposing was in line, if there were any issues that they saw up front, and none were found. And so with that, I recommend authorization of the Economic Development Performance Agreement between Sugar Land 4B Corporation, LCFRE, Sugar Land Town Square LLC, for the tenant improvements and infrastructure improvements related to the tenant PUTTSHACK. With that, I want to say Matt Reagan and Tom Patterson are here on behalf of Limestone and Reeves, and we will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And I also want to clear up, so our agreement is with SL4B and Lionstone. And then Lionstone would have the agreement as a landlord and tenant with PUTTSHACK. So we would be working directly with the property owner. Questions? Yes, sir.
Jessica, please explain how we can afford this. Where the money comes from and that we can afford the $1 million.
We have plenty of money already in our R4O that has been set aside for upcoming projects. As I said, we've been meeting with Reeves for many years now of what the future of this site would look like. And so we have factored that into our budgeting year over year. And so it's already in our R4O. We have it plenty are available.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is it still part of a new construction, or is it taking over existing because tenants are leaving?
Do you guys want to?
Yeah, so. Great
Matt, come
question.
up here. Yeah. It's an existing structure, so there will be some tenants relocating, and so Matt can speak on that.
Yeah, great question. So the PNC, there's a PNC bank in the back end of that had already vacated for a larger spot just down the road. AT&T, we're working on either a relocation, it's about 4,000 square feet right at the front. That would either be a relocation or that they would, and they're still negotiating whether they're going to relocate or that they would go. So that one's in question. And then Madison Avenue on the second floor, that's the 10,000 square feet. We are designing and then we'll relocate them in some vacant office space. So this actually kind of gives us a little 1-2 punch of taking over some office vacancy as well as get this 20,000 square foot PUTTSHACK in.
Okay, yeah, because where you showed it, I know where AT&T is.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here,
yep.
that's right there. So
Yep.
that's why I was.
You got it.
Part of the repositioning that they worked on too was seeing where all the stores were and did it make sense. So you saw like Baby's First downsize, you saw the dance studio move. So that's where some of that comes in. Like, are the tenants in the right size for what they need?
Mhm.
And if not, how do we get them in the right spot and open it up for something that's going to be, better in the long term?
Yeah, and
So
that's
they're always thinking about that as well.
just having AT&T. I mean, AT&T is a great tenant. Obviously, we're excited to have them relocate, but that's the entrance to our project. It's the entrance to our community. We want that to be as impactful as possible, and PUTTSHACK affords us that
Mhm.
in a way that just AT&T just doesn't.
And they're willing to move? Okay.
Yes,
Good presentation, by the way.
Thank you.
What's the timeline?
So if this is approved, they would move to complete the lease with PUTTSHACK. Once PUTTSHACK takes ownership of the building or takes control of the building, so once they move the existing tenants and they take control of it, it would be a year from that point to get everything completed.
Okay, so the expectation will be sometime in the next 3 to 6 months that they would take control of it and then have a year to.
I would say that's fair. Yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
350,000. It's a lot of people.
Mhm.
I have no idea about the parking capability of our
Mhm.
parking garages. And I know we have some close to that, but that's plus or minus, it's 958 people a day divided by 2 in the same car.
Mhm.
What are our capabilities for parking with our parking garages and our existing traffic?
So Matt, feel free to come up and add in, but because we knew that Reeby's was going to be in line, so we're looking to reposition, they had already started a traffic study, a parking assessment study.
Yeah.
Was actually just completed and they presented it on it to the parking association, but he can go into some details. But what was found is we have an excessive amount of parking at our peak. Half is barely used. The
Peak daytime.
Peak daytime, yeah.
54% utilization. And peak nighttime, when this is really going to be where it's at max 45%.
Oh, wow,
utilization.
good.
So we've got a lot of parking.
So the on-street is full, right? And that's what you see, but the parking garages on this top 2 levels are typically empty. So again, it's changing the behaviors of people, having signage to direct them to the right parking, make sure they know where available parking is. So part of that parking analysis was looking at different tools and technology that can be incorporated into the site that can tell people where the available parking is. So all of that is being factored in when we're talking about making changes here.
Follow up? I'm sorry.
Yes.
So this demographic, we're certainly looking for as a city with all of our other potential developments in this greater area.
Mhm.
Are there any other ideas that you are including in when you bring in PUTTSHACK with this great demographic that we're looking at? Maybe that younger audience is going to be looking into other stores or, I don't know what other, is this all we're looking at for drawing that demographic?
Never.
So PUTTSHACK in kind of the retail in this retail space right now is kind of one of those gold standard tenants. And our plan, like Jessica said, this is looking probably about a 2025 opening. But from now until the second we sign that lease until 2025, we are leasing off that thing like crazy. And we are going to utilize that to its fullest to make sure that we fill this thing up with the top tier tenants. And it puts like PUTTSHACK does much more than just redefine our front entrance. And that gives us the chance to go like everybody, there's already national brokers that are like, I hear PUTTSHACK's coming. I hear
Yeah.
PUTTSHACK might be coming. I know it's supposed to be top six. But we're already getting into meetings with some tenants that we just never would have been able to touch otherwise. So we're going to use that to its fullest.
Well,
Yeah.
I just don't want to get too excited because I'm very excited right now.
It's exciting. That's-
I did not putt very well, and I need to do that, but I think about our pump track, and we brought in a great demographic, and now you guys
Yeah.
have brought this to the table, and great work. This is a really,
Thank you.
really
Yeah, quality retail brings other quality retail. That's what you want to see, right? So it should bring in much more. Yeah.
good work.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I just, with the signage or lights or whatever we're gonna do with parking garages, that's a great idea. That was,
Mhm.
you answered, was on my mind. It would be nice to have that.
Mhm.
Green light, red light, whatever on the outside to know, like.
Yeah.
Or what floors are taken. I think that would be very helpful.
Yeah, we had a conversation a few weeks ago with people in our planning department that talk about the parking and shared some ideas. So yeah, a lot of things are being considered of how we can make it more user friendly and take full advantage of the parking that's not being utilized. Mhm.
Hey, I'm sorry, go Steve.
I was just gonna
Yes,
say,
sir.
as I recall, there's a $15 million revenue you're projecting.
That's what they're projecting for the first year.
What part of that would the city?
We get a percentage in the sales tax, so
Okay.
quarter cent.
Portion?
So Amy, follow up to something she just made me think of. In Katy right now, there is a putt specialty entertainment venue by Tiger Woods.
Yes.
The dilemma is it's outdoors. And so as I think about this idea, and this is fabulous, all indoor. Yeah, I'll be able to putt a lot better. I
And we
think.
don't,
Yeah.
we don't have anything like this here, so
Ride your
Yeah.
bicycle there too. You can let the park.
yes.
Director James.
Motion to authorize the performance agreement.
Second.
Okay, did you get that? Jennifer Lane, Director Lane. Stuart was the first, director person. Vote.
Yeah, yes,
Yes.
Aye.
That's cool. I also, the motion carried unanimously.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Good work.
Excited.
At this point,
Thank
we're gonna call the order the records of the sugar and
So we move to the next one, it's a workshop review of and discussion on Violet PR proposal for the Sugarland Office of the Economic Development's fiscal year 24 marketing program.
Yes, thank you so much. So good afternoon. Let me. Looking for the right slide, so thank you. So today, like Ms. Sol said, I'm bringing to you our plan for the economic development marketing contract for fiscal year 24 and recommendation for the marketing firm as well. There has been a lot of work put into this. Nicole Kestenbaum, who is back there sitting, is our marketing coordinator, has really helped us out. And I'm also joined by April Mason, who is the president of Violet PR today. So thank you so much for everyone making the time. Before we start, I want to provide what we've done to get to this point in our marketing strategy. So 3 years ago, our office identified the need for a marketing plan to share awareness to our different audiences within the city of Sugar Land and outside to engage them and help them invest and visit Sugar Land. Since then, our marketing plan has helped create and maintain demand and a competitive edge for Sugar Land. Through DCI, our current marketing firm, we have had stories featured in the Houston Chronicle, HBJ, Site Selector Magazine, Travel Pulse, and American City and County. We have also had journalists like Tom Wilmer from NPR come record multiple stories about our businesses and academic institutions and have seen a 40 to 50% increase in followers on our LinkedIn platform. So we have confidently established a foundation for our brand, our economic development brand in Sugar Land, and now actively receive leads from our local and regional media outlets. So as we begin FY24, our office has decided to be proactive and rejuvenate our marketing efforts by exploring new firms, tools, platforms, and opportunities. So as we move forward, we will need a comprehensive approach to our community development goals, redevelopment, and business development goals. And it's really to create an outreach environment for our consumer-led audience on a local and regional level, but also propel our economic development brand forward on a national and international level. So now I will turn it over to April to discuss and introduce us to her marketing firm. And just to let y'all know, they are our recommendation for the marketing firm moving forward.
Hi, my name is April Mason. I am president and founder of Violet PR. We are based just outside New York City in Montclair, New Jersey. If anyone's heard of it. It's a college town. I set up the office there because it's a great place to recruit young talent. And my background is in economic development. I've actually spent my whole career in economic development since the mid-90s, starting off in Kansas City and then in New York, working as a consultant for dozens and dozens of economic development and destination marketing groups. So we were super excited to respond and be selected for this contract. I think a lot of the reasons that I think we're a great fit for you guys. One reason is we work with a lot of analogous communities that are also targeting the life sciences space, IT, financial services, doing a lot in redevelopment. Some of our current clients include Buffalo in New York, which has a big redevelopment story, as well as a lot of biotech activity happening. We're working in the state of New Jersey, which has always been a big bio hub, and we took them to the bio show last year and set up a lot of interviews. We recently started working with the state of North Carolina, which includes obviously the Research Triangle, which is very exciting. And then we work with a lot of mid-sized communities like Topeka, Kansas, and Kansas City, as well as Pittsburgh, which has a full revitalization story that we've been telling for a number of years. So our specialties include national media relations. I know that that's a real goal of the team, is elevating your story, not just in the Houston area, but getting the word out to a national audience. So you can see here, there's some examples of news stories that we've placed in Inc. magazine, the Today Show, Forbes, etc. And we also work with a lot of niche publications that cover specific industries like biotech. So I think we're in a great position to really take the campaign that has a great foundation and take it to the next level with national media relations, regional, social media, site consultant campaign, and a digital campaign, which we have a partner on called WavTech that specializes in doing a lot of digital advertising work. So, but we'll be the lead, and we'll have a team of several people that we'll be bringing out here in November for a full immersion tour. So I'm hoping we can meet with a number of you at that time. We really want to get to know you, and we'll be excited to hit the ground running. So thank you.
Thank you. So as we get into the details of the marketing contract, we'll have 5 programs or services. As you can see, there are many deliverables that fall into these categories. I have printed out a complete list for you in front of you, and happy to come back and discuss these in more detail. But just as a high-level overview, the Site Selector Outreach Program will help us reach site selectors and businesses to find their optimal location in Sugar Land to achieve the highest return on investment. This does include 6 to 8 in-person or virtual consultant meetings in our target markets. Although these have not been defined and are not concrete yet, we'll be looking at Durham, Chicago, San Diego, New York, and New Jersey. This is where national site selectors are based in. We also have a digital content program. This is to create digital data that can be broadcasted or streamed, like a new newsletter, and images and videos for social media content. What this does include is website content updates and development, and this will be ongoing as we move forward. The digital marketing services, like April just touched, will be done by WavTech. I may be mispronouncing that. And it is how we will promote our brand to connect with current and potential audiences using digital communications like web-based advertising. This includes search engine optimization keywords and content optimization as well, and is also and will be ongoing. So then our creative services is used to gain an audience to create attention around a project, redevelopment, or product, a real estate product, and will create a cohesive message for that targeted audience. So again, this includes comprehensive promotional materials and services to promotion. And then finally, our public relations program is much more than just advertising for us. This program will be a multifaceted approach to getting more exposure for our priority projects and our brand. So what this includes is theme line and story development, and this will help us identify industry trends and build messaging around them. Two of the stories that April and I have discussed are unleashing the future of life sciences and igniting growth in Sugar Land. As many of you know, life sciences is a target industry for us, and we're close to finishing that life science strategy here in October, November. And then also a place for business and lifestyle. And that connects the business development side of the strategies that we're working and also the redevelopment from community development. So as we move into the budget terms and conditions, we are proposing a 12-month marketing contract with option for renewal, but for a total for the first year of $276,788. Costs would be shared between 4A and 4B and broken evenly into $138,394. And this is also in front of you if you need more details or want to take a look. And next steps for us is today the workshop, joint board workshop. We have pulled and we'll have in October 18th, joint board approval for the contract, with the contract beginning that next Monday on October 23rd. Are there any questions?
Thank you. How is this different from our current media contract that we have with our marketing company?
We'll focus very heavily on a national and international level, as well as the public relations program of it all. There'll be a lot more proactive pitching to those national media outlets.
What is the overlapping in these two programs?
In between what we currently have and the digital content program, digital marketing services, and creative services all need to still continue. Your site selector outreach program will be more heavy than we have before, and it'll include in-market site visits from site selectors, which is different than what we currently have. And then also our public relations program will be a lot more proactive pitching to those national media outlets.
We're replacing.
That's where we're replacing. We're not gonna have both. We won't have
Okay.
PCI anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So, okay, so I was very confused. We're replacing DCI. Okay, so this makes much more sense because in addition to GCI, it didn't make sense. So that was my next question. What was the criteria for the selection?
So we wrote an RFP that I can share later on, but the criteria was really focused on these two goals. Let me go back. Of creating that outreach environment. So community development and redevelopment is a project or priority that was, done in the middle of FY 22-23. That DCI contract was ongoing. So this will heavily focus on that community development aspect. And then the second would be on that national, international level that I just spoke on.
Follow up. So my last question here, what holes that we found in DCI we're trying to plug in with this new program? And the last question, I guess, is what is the ROI? And I asked this on the last one, being from a business mindset, we were spending $276,000. What is the ROI that we expect to see on this? I know it's a vague question, but do we expect to see a return on this investment in the number of clicks, money? What's that ROI?
Yes, to answer the first one, again, it's really propelling our brand to a national level. The international may be a foundation starting off, but we really want to go to a national. Like I said, the Houston Chronicle, HBJ, all those local and regional outlets are already reaching out to us. A lot of the projects like Imperial and Lake Point have been picked up organically. We want to make sure that whatever stories or theme lines that we have coming forward can be picked up on a national scale. As far as the ROI, yes, there will be specific deliverables that I can share with you, but really the goal that can't be quantified is, again, propelling our brand forward on that national scale, making sure that site selectors are looking at us and saying, there's so much going on in Sugar Land. Let's see what else they have going on, right? And bleeding into that industrial, into that office, into that IT, into that financial services.
And we will be sharing detailed monthly reports on our successes. So we'll be tracking all the hits to, you'll be tracking the hits to your website, but we'll be tracking interactions on LinkedIn. And then we'll also be tracking all the media coverage and be able to show you numbers wise, how many viewers on average are looking at these news stories. So we will have numbers for you. And then obviously you'll be tracking, how does that translate into companies? Yeah, exactly.
I mean, hard dollars would be if we actually got some of these national companies.
Yes.
To come in, be
Correct.
here. That's a hard.
That's the
dollar
ultimate
value
goal.
we can get.
Amy?
I want to be clear, though, that it's very unlikely that we were going to say ABC company landed here because we have this marketing contract. There is a possibility that they'll be like, hey, we saw your ad, and they'll actually tell us that information. It's possible, but unlikely. So I just want to set that expectation that we're not going to get like 700 jobs at Sugar Land because we did this. But we are like, it's just it is momentum that we're continuing to build on. We're growing our brand, we're growing our name, we're getting our story out there, and we're controlling our narrative.
Go ahead, Steve.
I was just gonna add, having a site selector be focused on you is very important because they will drive business to you. So to me, that's very important to know that. So.
Absolutely. And in addition to the visits, we have a whole schedule of e-blasts and other communication that will go to them. So,
And the
yeah.
difference for this one is, we've had calls with site selectors before, but we're also going to go to them and they will be coming to us. So there's that two-way street built there.
Oh, yeah, so I don't have the old numbers in front of me. DCI, where were we on costs to them? I understand this is a expansion. Are we up? Is this a considerable increase? Is it a consistent increase? What were we at?
So this is a decrease. So we were about 338,000 for DCI. This is about $35,000 increase.
No, that's, people will be glad to hear that. A follow up if I may. So one of the greatest ad campaigns I think I've ever remembered is New York City would be that chili commercial, right? So I think there's going to be a lot of our constituents going, why in the world would we hire anybody from New York City, right? Even though we've just got 4 amazing New York PD officers, which I'm very thankful for, now on our force. So why New York? I think I heard the answer, and that is the national touch. Is that why New York?
That's right.
Okay.
So a lot of the site selectors are on that East Coast side of it, national site selectors, and ones that we want to be, in Sugar Land, look at Sugar Land. So this is.
And I'm not
Plus
trying
the
to pick
national
on you.
media. No,
You're in
I'm
Texas. There you go.
actually from Oklahoma,
Okay.
if that helps, but,
We got it.
but yeah, the national media are still in New York.
Okay.
So, yeah,
April, did you say earlier at the beginning that New Jersey is a biohazard?
no, a hub. It's a hazard too. I don't know. It is a hub though, yes, a long time bio.
Okay.
Are there other questions?
So how many different companies did you look at? And did you look at any outside of the New York area?
We did. So yes, we released an RFP on June 7th. We received 6 proposals, and from those interviewed 4. Then we called references. But yes, they were all over the nation. There were some in Texas, but most of them were in that East-West Coast area.
Okay, well, I'm glad the folks will be more national because this last time, I guess, so we got coverage in the Houston Business Journal and the Chronicle. I mean, we could have done that without hiring a New York firm, some of those things. So, so
Yes.
hopefully we'll have, stronger results. Yes.
Any other questions?
One more.
Go ahead.
Did DCI apply?
They did.
They did, and they weren't selected because
I think we're looking at best practices and reevaluating our vendors. We were at that 3-year mark. And so we're really looking at a creative and fresh eye on our marketing. We had laid that foundation with DCI. They did a fantastic job, but it was time for us to grow.
Yep. So I agree they did I wouldn't say fantastic job, but it's hard to measure, as Elizabeth said, and we don't know what we're going to get. My concern is we're going to spend $270,000. We spend upwards of $750,000 of the public's money. And by us getting a HBJ article or an article because the Space Cowboys are here, I think 3 employees at $70,000 a piece can also get that too. We should definitely bring in a new company, but we should definitely get those monthly reports, see what we're getting, and then make a tough decision next year. Do we continue hiring an outside firm with our constituents' money and not getting all the results that we're looking for? These are good to outline, and I know you're going to still continue to outline more. But I really get worried about spending $275,000 and not getting deliverables.
Absolutely,
Yep.
and I hear you. On October 18th, we'll bring a results-driven contract. So we're working with our workforce cities department to make sure that that contract is outlined strictly with deliverables. If we can quantify it and if it has to be qualitative, at least it's results-driven.
Yep.
I also do want to add that the purpose of hiring a marketing firm also gives you that network that you want in the site selectors in those national media outlets that we want to target. We could definitely, as staff, go after those relationships, but they would take that time, and we don't want to let our brand or the city of Sugar Land be dormant while we build those relationships. So this is why, again, we hire out.
Beautiful.
Also, when I first got hired, I've been here almost 6 years. We were not in the HBJ. We were not in the Chronicle. We were in the Fort Bend Star and the Community Impact, but we were not making headlines in Houston. So every now and then when we had a location, but I mean, we don't have a lot of land where our existing businesses are growing. That doesn't necessarily pick up headlines. So we have made progress. We have laid a significant foundation that we're going to now continue to grow.
And believe me, I'm not saying we haven't made progress. Please don't understand that. I'm saying that. I don't want you all walking out of here with your heads down 6 feet below the sand saying that Carmali said we're not making progress. No, it's not what I'm saying. So I just like Suzanne, as business owners, we like to see an ROI on our dollar. You spend $1, what do you get? And I understand these are not quantifiable dollars. It's hard. It's hard. So.
It's also worth remembering that the money for this comes from sales tax, as much of which comes from people who don't live in Sugar Land. And that sales tax, that increment, the 1/4 cent for 4B and 4C, that we voted on that, I don't know how many years ago, to create the corporations, specifically to be spent on this kind of thing. So it's important for those who might be watching out there to remember that we're not spending your property tax.
Yes.
There's always an opportunity cost.
Yes, and to note, this is included in the FY24 budget already that you've seen.
Any other questions? Thank you, Angel. Thank you. And now the next item is the director's report.
Good afternoon. Okay, I'll make this quick. So earlier we had Matador Network and Austin Travels here in Sugar Land to come and visit and highlight how family friendly we are. Of course, they went to our awesome venues, Space Cowboy, Smart Financial, and Go Ape. They also, DCI did draft our newsletter that went out, and we've gotten some pretty amazing response from our business community already about John's new revisioned joint CIP program, also now known as FUN grant program. So we've gotten a really great response, and it went out to a great audience. And then we also, Alba she was on a panel with the Greater Houston Partnership, the Diverse 21st Century Economy Forum's Life Sciences and Biotech with the University of Houston and Vitran. So she is doing a great job of getting out there and engaging with the life science community, getting on the panels, getting to know businesses in and outside of the Houston region. And so really excited and proud of her for doing that. And if you don't follow us already on LinkedIn, follow us, reshare, love our posts. We appreciate you. And then also want to just say thank you to Director Atkinson. You have been an incredible board member for us, and we are going to miss you greatly, but we appreciate all of your years of service so far and for being here. So,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a privilege to serve each of you, serve with you, and those who preceded you, as well as the city council and the people that we live with daily.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Billy, it's been a joy and an honor and privilege serving with you on 4B for the better part of the past 4 years. I always enjoyed your insightful comments and questions. So thank you for your service, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you.
And yeah, joining, you were on some of the financial committee with me and vice president for these years as well. So All the best to you.
Bet.
Do I have a motion?
Right, that's the 4C is adjourned. We need
Right,
to
so
have
a
a motion.
motion. I think it's 4A, but anyway. And then
DC is adjourned. We need a
4B.
4B.
Yeah, a 4B. Is there a motion?
Sure.
Motion to adjourn. Congratulations.
Good luck to you, Steve.
Good luck to you.
Take care.